Hi, how are you tonight? I'm Roberta Colasino, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in the Finger Lakes region of upstate New York. I come to you every Wednesday night on this Facebook channel or Facebook group, change the name, 11 Lakes Stamper Creatives, and I bring you a free stamping class. Tonight's class is going to be what I call a product-based class. So we're going to make 2 cards and a 3D project, and they'll both be using the same stamp set or the same bundle. And I'm doing that because it's a really good way to show you how versatile this particular set is. Okay, where am I? There we go. All right. It's a really cute set. I've had a lot of fun playing with it as well. Just really cute. A lot of fun things that you can do with it. Gifts, cards, and other things. Okay, now I turned off my sound, and yet there I am. Okay, that's strange. I turned it off, but it somehow came back on. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the camera down so we can get started. Thank you very much for understanding that I needed to be late tonight. I just had a whole lot going on and I needed to eat a little something and make sure I had all my stuff pulled together. All right, hang on and we'll put the camera down. I've got it backwards again this time, so that makes it a little weird. All right, let's see if I can cover it up here because I know some of you don't do too well with the moving camera. I'll do that. Okay, now we should be fine if I can just keep my fingers out of the way. And I'll bring everything closer, pardon my hand, and tighten that up. And bring everything into frame, and we should be good in a second or two. Okay, there we go. Looks good. So today is Wednesday, July 2nd, 2025. As I was putting up my videos on YouTube, I realized it was very helpful to me to know what date they were done, because once you put them up on YouTube, what happens is the date that they were put on YouTube pops up as the date rather than the date that you actually filmed them. Anyway, I'm just trying some different things to make it a little bit easier on myself as I try to work my way through this process. All right, so my business name is 11 Lakes Stamper. I'm 11 Lakes Stamper on YouTube and 11 Lakes Stamper Creatives on Facebook. I come to you every Wednesday, like I just said, typically at 7 p.m. with a free paper crafting class. And we can learn to make cards and home decor, scrapbook layouts, and much more. And if you're interested in ordering any of the products that you see tonight, you can do so at www.rcolasino.stampinup.net, and you can reach me at the Gmail address listed there. Okay? Okay. I also put up today in the group the daily creative prompts calendar for July. And as usual, every place you see pink, that is an opportunity for you to win a prize, but only one prize per customer per week, or per year rather. Oh my gosh, per month. And the one thing that you see there that's sort of coffee colored, that is my live and in-person coffee and a card class at Grind On Coffee Company. If you're local to Wayne County, New York, you would be able to come to that class. All right. So this is the set that I've decided to use today. I have played with it, but I have not done a video with it yet. It's called Notes and Totes, and it's just really adorable. And you have to fool around with it a little bit till you kind of get used to how it works, but it's great. And it's one of those sets that comes with a bunch of dies that don't have anything to do with the stamps. So there are, I'm just checking, no, there's not one single die that cuts out anything that you see here on the stamps. All right, so the tote refers to this tote bag, and I realize it does not look like a tote bag just yet, but it will. And then it has 2 options for handles for the tote bag. Normally I've got these on a magnet by now, but I don't have magnet sheets this size, so I always have to kind of rig something up. So this is one option for the handle, and this is another option for the handle right here. And then there are these 2 little things. I won't try to take them out because this is unusually sticky this time. So these are 2 little, I'm not sure what you'd call them, like hinges or fasteners for the totes. And then we have a starfish, and we have a shellfish. That could be a conch shell. We have this thing here that looks a little bit like an envelope, but it could be something else. And we have this, which could be a book, but it could be something else. We have a water bottle that actually has a straw in it. We have our suntan lotion bottle. We have a little tag, which I think I did not use that yet. We have a different kind of water bottle. This one's more like a tumbler. We have, believe it or not, what this is here is sunglasses. So this is the inside, the glass part, and this is the frame of the sunglasses. And we have this, which is actually a scarf. Okay, so lots of interesting things, and like I said, not a single one of them has anything to do with what you would see on the outside of the stamp case to even understand what is going on here. So you really need to take a good look at them. Missed. There we go. You need to take a good look at them, and like I said, we will play with them. And I like the sentiments as well. I always love a good just a note, because it can be just that. It can be a note card. So it says just a note on the outside, and then it could be to wish you a happy birthday on the inside, or just saying hello. Relax and enjoy, and when you see at least one of the cards that we'll be making tonight, you'll see how this would make a great retirement card as well, and then you'll see what these two things are all about. Great, great set, great sentiments. All right, so card number 1, I have a card base of Azure Afternoon, and then I did do some watercoloring off camera. By the way, I have not yet found my Take Your Pick tool. I'm getting a little nervous about it. When I was setting up to do that craft show, which by the way was a total disaster, I was supposed to borrow a tent, but then it turned out the tent that I was going to borrow had somehow disappeared from where it was supposed to be. And so I decided to just bite the bullet and go buy a tent. I figured I could use it in the backyard. Maybe I would do some craft shows. But typically paper crafters don't like to do craft shows because paper and water and paper and wind don't go well. So I didn't come to last week because I was trying to set up for that. And I was trying to get ready for that and make sure I had everything. And when I got there to set up, I got out of my car first to go find somebody in charge to ask where my spot was. And I was greeted by 2 women who were also trying to find out the same thing, who told me basically not to bother because it was just some man who wasn't even looking up from his phone who was telling them any place is good, which for people who do a lot of craft shows, they were kind of surprised by that. So long story short, it got windy. I was helping 2 women to hold their tent to keep it from flying away, and they were trying to attach weights to it. I had stakes for my tent, but no weights, and they said you really should not set up. We were right on the Erie Canal, and so if the tent blew, there was a good chance it would end up in the canal. And I don't know about you, but I was not jumping in the Erie Canal to pull it out. So I went home. That was it. So no craft show after all that prep work. All right, so I used Balmy Blue up top. Then I used some Bubble Bath. Then I used some Balmy Blue mixed with Azure Afternoon, and then I used Crumb Cake. And I want to show you what I did. I used re-inkers, okay? And I have a little palette here, real cheapo palette. It could have even come from the dollar store. And I put 2 drops of each color in these 3 things. And the when I used the Crumb Cake, I just did the thing where you squeeze the pad and take the crumb cake from inside that. 2 drops, and it was way too much because I wanted it really watery. I wanted it to be a wash. So you can see that 1 drop would have been plenty, and I've still got leftover. So I could possibly set that aside, let it dry, and then reactivate it at some point. One of the stamps in the set is one of these splotches stamps, but in this case, the splotches stamp is intended to be sand. So I think I'm going to stamp off once because it seems kind of dark to me, even with just Crumb Cake. And when I'm doing something like this, I tend to turn my stamp around a few times, just so it doesn't look like the same thing over and over again. So this is just kind of supposed to represent the grains of sand, and I might stamp several times without bothering to re-ink. And that's all. It's just kind of random, but it just makes it look a little bit more beachy. All right, so now that's done. Like I said, the rest was just a watercolor wash. I used my water painter and just rinsed off in that larger well and squeezed the water painter brush on some scrap paper when I needed to clean it off, and that worked very well for me. All right, so that's the background for card number 1. And I have these little strips that I cut off of this. So our Fluid 100 watercolor paper comes in 5x7 sheets, which is, it's a little wasteful for me because you can't get, well, you could possibly get 2 cards out of it if you were going to have a very small section on the front of the card, but not if you wanted a typical 4x5 1/4. Then what you have left over isn't really anything you can do very much with. Anyway, so there's that. There is a sun stamp, and if I had blotted out some of this, then I could have maybe put the sun up here, but I didn't. So we'll use that another day. The glue is usually very good at holding this paper. The Fluid 100 watercolor paper is quite heavy, and it does curl a little bit, and I had it sitting under something. The other thing that would definitely be good is the Stampin' Seal Plus. Not the regular Stampin' Seal, but the Plus, which is much stronger. And I actually prefer this one anyway because I just think it's more user-friendly for whatever reason. And I'll see if you can see this. It comes out, I don't know if you're going to be able to see that or not. It comes out in like little, where are we? This way, this way. You see those little lines? It comes out in little segments. So where the Stampin' Seal Plus or the regular Stampin' Seal and the snail that we used to have would very often get, like you'd get this like stringy gummy thing, you know, you'd lift up on the, when you were done, you'd lift up on it and it would get gummy and sometimes it would tear your card. This doesn't do that because of these little segments that it has. So I kind of prefer it. It's a tiny bit more expensive than the regular Stampin' Seal. And the regular Stampin' Seal, I'll say once you get used to it, it's a bit of a learning curve. Once you get used to it, whoops, don't put it on upside down, you won't have any problems. I'm very sure you won't. The other thing that I prefer about the wet glue is that the Stampin' Seal does not give you the wiggle room that the wet glue gives you. I see I got a little bit coming over the edge, so all I'm going to do is push it back under before I press this down. So if this is crooked, which I think luckily it's not, or at least it's not too crooked, that little thing that you do, or that I do, to move the glue is not going to work on this. Alright, so there we go. And then this will be the inside of the card, and I'll use probably the thinner one of these as a bottom on the inside, but we won't do that just yet. So I've got this dish full of things that I die cut because there are just all kinds of choices, and I wanted to show you some of the options. So one option was to just grab a piece of Designer Series paper. Now I have 2 of these because you do need 2 if you want to make the 3D. If you're doing the card, you know, doing it just on a card base like this, you don't need 2. So just use DSP and life is good, right? The other option was I got out that, what's it called? The striped, it's right here, painted stripes. And that is a really cool stamp, and I wanted to point out because sometimes it looks like it's not stamping well, but that's the way it stamps. It's a distinctive stamp. It's actually carved so that it comes out with different shades. So you could stamp this and have a nice blue striped beach bag, which is kind of a cool color for a beach bag, so that's another option. And then the third option, which I'll show you right now, is to get a piece of scrap paper. Let me get all this out of the way so I don't do anything bad. And I've got the stamp that comes in the set, and it is this stamp right here. Okay. I'm going to use that, and I'm going to use Strawberry Slush, which is definitely a new favorite color for me. And I'm just going to do the DIY DSP thing. So DIY, do it yourself, DSP, Designer Series paper. And I'm just going to stamp all over. If I miss a couple of spots, I can maybe go back and kind of fix it. Some of this isn't going to show anyway. And I'm just going to go around and stamp all over. And if it's a little doubled up in a couple of places, I don't mind. I probably could have been a tiny bit more careful and taken more time, but I think it's just fine. So that is another option. All right, so we could choose to use any of these right now. I'm kind of partial to this one, but maybe that's because I actually have a blue striped beach bag, but we'll use this one for something else. Okay, so that's the option. Now, because it is intended to be used also as a 3D, it comes with score lines that you fold, and then it comes with a section on the bottom, and this little thing here helps you connect the 2 halves together if you're going to make a 3D beach bag, which we are not. So I'm just going to cut this little tab off because it's just going to kind of get in the way and add a little bulk, and we don't need it. Okay, I'm going to leave these tabs on, and I'll tell you why. If I leave a little bit of, what do you want to call it? A little bit of room here, a little bit of give, I could possibly tuck something in there. So I could leave it a little 3D, and I could tuck a gift card in there, or I could tuck something in there. I don't know what. So I'm going to leave it. So basically it's going to be mostly flat, but it'll have a little whatever, but it will still lay flat for you in an envelope, okay? So the other thing that's in here, the other die that's in here, among many dies, is, let me see if I can find it now, this, which becomes the bottom of the bag. And then there are even these, which you can choose to use or not use as you see fit. So let's say that this is a canvas bag, but it has a leather bottom, like a lot of bags do, so that the bottom is protected. So this is the leather bottom, let's say. And then this could be the part that goes up here and meets with the handle. What did I do with the handle? I showed it to you, didn't I? Oh, I showed you the die. I didn't show you the actual handle. I did make a handle, I promise. Okay, well, let me keep looking. I know it's in here. Basically, I had all kinds of scraps sitting around on my desk from some journals that I made, and some of them were even embossed like this. And I thought, well, for a starfish, that wouldn't be bad at all. And a lot of the embossing went away when I ran it through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine anyway, but a starfish does have quite a texture to the front of it, so I thought, well, why not? All right, some of these things are just so small in here. So just for your own information, to cut out the tote, I found that I needed a piece of paper 5 by 3.5, and that was kind of perfect. And I did use some scraps that were smaller than that and just really kind of zhuzhed it around, but 5 by 3.5 would be the perfect size. Okay, here we go. I think, I don't know why, but I think I made the totes both pink, or the handles both pink. So I might choose not to use these because they look better, I think, with the other handle choice, but that's, you know, kind of up to you. So we're going to glue this onto the bottom. I knew the glue was going to be clogged. I can see it. There's like a big oogie on the top. Then the problem is sometimes you end up pushing it inside, or your pin bends or breaks. There we go. Okay. This particular one saw a lot of use last week, so. All right, let's get back to that. I don't know. Oh, there we go. Okay. So, it's been quite warm here in the Finger Lakes, and we've had a lot of thunderstorms the last couple of days. Not as many as like 2 weeks ago. We had a couple of really nice days, but then the storm started again. One of my cats, the newer, younger one, is not the least bit impressed by thunderstorms. He really just doesn't care for them. He doesn't seem terrified, but he wants to be real close to me when that's happening. So he goes everywhere with me, and I do mean everywhere. I have no privacy. All right, so we can go ahead and put that down, I think, and then I can add this. So this is pretty much going to take up most of the space. Now, I could put it on kind of an angle, so it's, you know, it's big. I'm almost wondering if I wanted to, could I cut it like this and make it smaller? I could have put the card this way, and the next card will go this way, but this one doesn't. So obviously it's a real close-up view of the beach bag. Let's put it that way, a real close-up view. All right, and by leaving these little tabs down here, I have the ability to put something inside. Obviously not something really small because there will be some little openings here, but something like a gift card would be perfect, or some type of a little note or a certificate, or, you know, I don't know. Use your imagination. So we're going to put a little bit of an angle, and I'm doing that because we're going to put something here. Okay, now if I didn't care about having it be a pocket, then I would just glue the whole thing down. In fact, I would probably cut off those side tabs as well. So definitely, I'm just thinking, here's 1 gift card, 2 gift cards. Look at that. I mean, if you really wanted to make somebody very happy, you could get 4 gift cards in there. And that would make kind of a cute little display, too, for them to see the gift cards. Or, and I don't know if any of you even know what this is, but there's something called an artist trading card. I don't have any right out here where I can reach them, but they're little works of art that artists trade with each other. And they're, I think it's 2.5 by 3.5. They're basically the size of a playing card. Maybe a little bit in between a business card and a playing card. And so if you're giving this to an artist friend, that would be really cool to put some artist trading cards inside. So now I'm kind of wishing I did not use Bubble Bath on the sky like I did. I was going to try to make it a little bit more purple, and then I started getting nervous about mixing colors, because mixing colors is not my strong suit. Okay. So that's going on there. Now let me show you what a couple of other little options are. So we've got a water, or not a water bottle, a lotion bottle. Now this is funny. This kind of talks to how my brain works. So in my mind, I'm looking for those other water bottles that I just took out and showed you 6 minutes ago. Did I put them away already? Oh, I tell you, I just hate when that happens. And it sort of happens a lot in my life. So anyway, the water bottles, I just made one color. I made them blue. But with this, I thought when you have lotion, it never has a blue top. It has a white top. You know, like I said, sometimes these things keep me awake at night. So I cut it out in blue and in white so that I could put them together, and it would be a blue bottle with a white top. All right, you can't see what I'm doing, can you? All right, I've got to really be careful about that. So now it's a blue bottle with a white top, okay? So we'll glue that on. In the meantime, I'm scanning my desk here, looking for the other bottles. If you see one, give me a shout, because sometimes you get the bird's eye view that I don't have. I may have put them over there with the scraps. I might have put them back on top of my computer. We'll find them. We'll find them. I haven't decided where I'm putting this yet, but I just kind of want to assemble it. So we've got the lotion bottle, okay? And then, like I said, we've got this thing here, which could be a pocket, all right? And it could be a pocket that opens, so the lotion bottle could be, like I tend to put my lotion bottle on an outside pocket just in case it leaks, because I don't want it getting all over my towel or a book or whatever I may have in there. So that, we might do that. I wish I had done that in a color, though, but I didn't. Let's see, what did I do with those? Isn't that something? Isn't that something? They were all just right here. The only reason this doesn't bother me more is because I see all the other demonstrators who do videos having this same issue. So it makes me feel much better. All right, let's see if we can pull some sunglasses together. So there are the frames, and they're blue. And then here are the insides that are the silver, or kind of like the mirror sunglasses. So I'm going to put some glue around the outside edges. Thank goodness for the fine tip glue bottle, right? I don't know if I'll get it all the way around, but I'll get it in enough places that it should just stick. All right, so then I'm going to put that down. And then I'm going to grab, whoops, that doesn't work. There we go. Grab that and try to line them up. And give them a little zhuzh before the glue dries. There we go. Okay. When you're using the foil paper, you do want to be careful not to get gluey fingerprints on them, because when you get gluey fingerprints on them, the glue really doesn't come off. All right, oh, so this was another cute thing. So when you cut out the glasses, you're left with this little heart. So every time I cut out glasses, I was left with hearts of one color or another, depending on what color glasses I was making. So you could have those hearts and use them for another card or put a heart on the pocket. I've got my seashell there, my conch shell, and I've got my starfish, that's what he's called. And, well, I've got an orange tumbler and an orange bottle. But didn't I just show you blue ones, or did I just dream that? I see tons of glasses in here. Oh, wait a minute, no, it's another lotion bottle. Maybe I imagined that. Maybe I really never did make blue water bottles. Maybe I just made orange. Don't ask me why, because it really doesn't go with anything, does it? Okay, so let's get some mini dimensionals. I'll tell you what we're going to use those for in a second. There we go. So let's forget about the orange water bottles for a minute. Yeah, I really must not have made them, because I just don't know where else they would be. But right here under my nose. Unless they're stuck in here, which they really don't seem to be. Yeah, I thought I was making like a variety of colors, different things, but maybe not so much. Okay, so we're going to put the shells here, and that was another reason why I wanted to leave this spot like raised up a little bit. Actually, I don't know that I need the mini ones. Well, I will for the starfish, for sure. This is so much easier with the Take Your Pick tool. It's going to turn up, I know it is. Alright, and if we want that to have a little dimension, we'll just leave it like that. Well, wait a minute, you know what? I'm going to wait. So what you can do, if part of it's going to be on something and part of it's going to be hanging off, what you can do is double up, put two dimensionals so that the end that you need to be higher is higher. So we can stack two on top of each other. So I can go like this down here and then like that down up there. Does that make sense? So doubled up here and single there so that it ends up being the same height. Okay. And I think I'm going to glue down the starfish kind of partially underneath. There's definitely something in that, in the glue bottle, clogging things up a little bit. Alright, so we'll put that right there. It's not ideal to have it touching the bag, but whatever. Alright, and then I just don't really like the orange. It just doesn't work for me. I don't know about you, but it doesn't work for me. So I'll trade them out for blue. And they could even go in here as well, and you would just have to glue them to the inside of the bag. And I think there would still be room. So this tumbler has a little whatever too, so maybe it could be put like partially under here, like it's sitting right there. But I'm just not happy with the blue or the orange, so we're not gonna use that. Okay, so since I didn't make this any particular color, how about if we put the heart on here? So it has a color. I probably should have made it blue. This is Misty Moonlight, by the way. Still to this day, my favorite blue. Misty Moonlight is definitely my favorite blue. I was so happy when they brought it back because it was an in color a number of years ago. And I loved it. It's kind of denim-y. You know, I think that's why I liked it, because I like denim. All right, so we're going to put that there. We'll glue that on. And maybe what I'll do is I'll glue it down the sides and the bottom. And we'll center it like that. And then I'm going to take the lotion bottle and put a little glue on the front, bottom, and a little glue on the top. And then we're just going to slide that in there. I should be able to get it a little further in than that. There we go. And then that's sticking out. Okay? And if I wanted to, I could double up to make that stronger, because I didn't double up the top, the pump, but I doubled up the bottom, so we could make that a little bit stronger. And then the idea behind the glasses is that they're supposed to look like they're hanging off the side of the bag. So the arm of the glasses is around the bend where you can't really see it. That's what that's supposed to be all about. And a dimensional would work well for this as well. I'll put them over here. No, I think I'm going to put them over here. Okay. So now they look like they're hanging off. Is that not adorable? I mean, seriously, even without the water bottles, because, like I said, orange just wasn't doing it for me. I'll cut some blue ones before I take the picture. But isn't that just adorable? Now, I should have stamped this before I glued it down. So this could be the retirement card, in which case it could say relax and enjoy across the top. Or it could be the just a note card. It really doesn't matter. All right, and then the other sentiments, just so you can see this, assuming I haven't lost them too. Yeah, you know, because now I'm not seeing them. There we go. I say, now I'm not seeing them. So this could be a book, all right? In which case you would do something to make it look like a book, and this would be the binder of the book, and maybe you'd find some kind of a picture to put on there or whatever. But there are two sentiments. One is called Newsflash, You're Fabulous. And the other one says, where did it go? I keep putting it someplace and forgetting it. There we go. The other one says, exclusive, made just for you. And another one says, so grateful, a true story. So they're kind of meant to be like a newspaper headline or a book title or something like that. All right, but I like the Newsflash, You're Fabulous, because that could be a birthday greeting. It could be almost anything, and then you could put happy birthday on the inside. So I'll use the Misty Moonlight. The other thing that I always liked about the Misty Moonlight is that, at least for me, it just seems, you know how I say sometimes some colors just really look good after you stamp them? This is one of them. Night of Navy is one of them. A lot of the blues and greens are really very, very good. Some of them, I don't know, they just stamp better than others, in my opinion. So Newsflash, You're Fabulous, okay? And then I even thought, and I got it out, but for the most part, newspapers are not written in cursive, but we have this Elements of Text, which has two cursive fonts, but it also has this one that kind of looks like typewriter type font. And I could, let's just take this off a block for a minute. So I could put that on there, and I could get my basic gray. And let's get another piece of scrap paper, or the same piece of scrap paper. And what if I were to just do some of that? All right, not too much, just a little bit, kind of gives it a little bit more of a newspaper-ish look. And then this can now get tucked in here, and I could glue it. If I glue it to the, to the inside front, then there's still going to be room in there for gift cards. Oops, we're clogged again. There's just got to be a big goober in there. Every once in a while, you do, with these fine tip ones, you do have to take them apart and really wash out the tip and kind of ream it out. Hot water helps to melt it, and then just kind of go back and forth. I almost wish they made a little tool, like a pin, but with kind of a roughness to it, with some grooves in it or something, so it kind of scrub it out, if that makes any sense, like bottle brushes, but for itty-bitty bottles. Okay, so just a little bit of glue in the bottom, and I'll put this in here, and then I'll press and hold it. And there we go. And we still have room behind there for gift cards. They just wouldn't be quite as obvious, that's all. And this would probably go down lower if I angled it more the same angle as the bag. So you could still put gift cards in that if you wanted to, or a little note or whatever. So adorable, right? Newsflash, you're fabulous. I think this is so cute. And to be honest, I like it a lot because I love flowers, do not get me wrong, but we seem to have a lot of flowers, and I know some people really like flowers, and I do too. Got nothing against flowers, but sometimes I just want something very different. And I don't always like, and I don't think my customers really care for the real cartoony stuff, you know, like the animals and whatnot. They just haven't shown a lot of interest in that. So this one seems like a nice happy medium, you know, it's kind of fun, but it's not flowers. Well, and it could be if you stamp those flowers on the beach bag. Then it could be flowers. So we'll just put that on. I could even, I do have another one, it's just in a different color. I tried the, crumb cake first. So we could put a starfish in here. And I'm going to get my tweezers. I had so much glue on my hands while I was working on my journals that I had to you couldn't even wash it off. I had to peel it off. Every night I had to peel it. Well, I ended up selling 2 journals anyway because one of the family members of one of our artists at the gallery came in one day and saw me making them, and she wanted to buy them. So she bought 2, one for herself and one for her granddaughter for her birthday. So that was it. That was my sales for the week. So now I'm thinking, I've got the tent. Do I return it? Because who knows if I really am going to use it. And, you know, it was $100 and something. It wasn't like the top of the line, but it wasn't the bottom either. Do I return it, or do I sign up for some shows? But, you know, rain and wind, I just can't do rain and wind with paper products. It's just not a good plan. So there we go. Oh my gosh, I just love it. I love it. It's just so cute. And the watercolor background is always something kind of special, and it makes it look kind of artsy. Even if you don't have a clue what you're doing, you can make a watercolor background, I promise you. All right, card number 2 has a white card base, basic white card base, strawberry slush as a layer, and then basic white as a layer. All right, so I think for this one, we'll go ahead and use the strawberry slush one that I did. That would seem to make sense. Of course, now I still have orange water bottles. This is not going well. I did not think my color choices through at all. But that's all right. I can fix them before I post the pictures so that whoever's not watching tonight will see pictures that show them matching a little bit. I mean, nobody says your water bottles have to match your beach bag. I mean, to be honest, mine certainly doesn't. But mine is silver. I carry this thing with me wherever I go. So it's silver. So silver goes with everything. Okay, so let's see. And this, maybe for this one, what we'll do is what we talked about doing before. Maybe this one can be flat. So we're going to cut off all the tabs because we're just not going to need them. Cutting them in a straight line would have been a really good idea, but that one was a little cockeyed. All right, so we'll cut off the tabs, and we're going to glue this one all the way around so it's going to be completely flat. This card is going to go this way. Let me get that straightened out in my head first. This card is going to go this way, okay? And this card, you know, I guess maybe I didn't think it through, but I wasn't worried about this one looking like it was at the beach. I suppose it could be at the pool or something. The other thing that is really cool here, but you typically would see it as a beach, is that there are fences. So I haven't quite figured out like which is supposed to be the post. Normally the posts are thicker, I would assume, than the, what do you call these things? If these are the fence posts, these are the fence rails, right? So there's a bunch of them, and the die actually does this embossing as well. So I wasn't sure. I did a bunch of them, but I don't know if I did enough. And so then you could have the fence in the background, so maybe not at the beach, but maybe you're at a park. You know, maybe you're at a park, and the fence is in the background, and you're having a picnic at the park. So you've got the fence posts and the fence rails, like that, and then your thing is sitting here. And you know what would be kind of cool? You probably wouldn't even have to. I would assemble this first, not gluing it on there, and then cut off whatever didn't really need to be here behind it. That's just a thought. I don't know how I feel about it. And then what would really be kind of cool would be a piece of plaid paper like the, I saw it just today. Hang on one second. I think I can reach it from where I am. What about the timeless plaid, which is still current? And you know, I don't think there is no red checked tablecloth in here. I know that, but the blue might be kind of cool. I don't know. That one's might be too much. I don't remember what other colors are in here. They're muted colors, and this was one of the ones that everybody said would make a really good masculine card. Oh, you know what I like even better though? I like, hang on. I like that blue, the lighter blue, and that's more of a, this reminds me of Checkers, that restaurant in Florida, the hamburger place. This reminds me of a tablecloth. So what if, okay, see now, this is where you kind of sometimes fly by the seat of your pants, but it's okay. So I'm almost thinking, like, what if I had it as a square? Hang on. Where'd it go? Okay, I can't find the mini trimmer, but that's okay. I'll use the non-mini trimmer. What if I made a square, maybe 4 by 4, roughly? Let's see. Oh, and then we have a strip we could use on the inside too, if we wanted to. So what if we had a square that was 4 by 4? Ooh, I have another idea. And I found the mini trimmer because it was behind the other trimmer. All right, so what if we did, yeah, that's going to be too big, isn't it? But what if we had the bag? So now this is not a beach bag anymore. Now it's a picnic bag. All right, so what if we had it like this? For some reason, I feel like I want it to be kind of like diamond-like. But it would have to be smaller for that to work. And if you want it to look like a blanket, it's got to be quite a bit bigger. So what if we had this as the blanket that the picnic bag is sitting on? And then I was even thinking, what if, hang on, might have to make it a little bit smaller. Let's see. Have you figured out where I'm going with this yet? Oh gosh. So the nice thing about plaid paper is that it's really hard not to cut straight because you follow the lines, and yet I did somehow just manage to cut crooked. What if we, it's got to be even though, so what is this? So this is 1.5, so let's make it a square. 1.5 by 1.5. Oh, I'm liking this idea. That does not look like a square to me. Because it's not 1.5, it's 1 1/4. There we go. There's a time when I probably wouldn't have even noticed that didn't look like a square though, so I'm getting better with these things. All right, and then what if we took it and folded it kind of in half like a napkin? Or we could use the other side because it would be contrasting. The napkins don't have to match the tablecloth, do they? What do you think? And then had that like hanging over the bag or something like that. I don't know, it's just a thought. So we're gonna have to trim this down for sure. So that was 4 by 4. So let's go for 3.5 by 3.5. And I can definitely use those scraps for something, so I won't feel bad that I wasted them. Okay, so what if we just put it like that? And then put this on there, and that on there, like a napkin, and still can't use those darn orange water bottles though, can we? Oh my gosh. No, no, no. No orange water bottles. All right, this one's going this way though, so if I want to put just a note, I wonder if just a note will fit on here. Will it? Kind of. But then I can't have the napkin there. I would have to have the napkin maybe sitting on the table or something like that, or on the cloth. All right, we'll leave the napkin off for now. Let me just see how this works. Let's see if I can get, do I have another pocket? Do I have another pocket? I do. Oh, the just a note definitely won't fit on, well, no, it won't fit on the pocket. All right, so what if we put it on this? I'm using the basic gray right now. And I've got to try to get my head under that. Okay, so it goes over the edges, you know, the embossed part, but I don't care. I think that's fine. So what if we do this? Let's go ahead and glue. All right, hang on. I'm just trying to think. Because then I'm going to have all this space over here. What am I going to do with all that space, right? So maybe it would have been better to leave this full size, but I don't mind having a little white on each side, and if it bothers me, I can probably do something with it. But I think I'm okay with it being just white. And then what if this went in here and stuck out just a note? That I like. All right, I've just got to make sure that I have enough room. So let's go ahead and put the tablecloth down, or the blanket, whatever you want to call it. So I have some ideas in front of me that I sketched out, and a couple of ideas that I took off from Stampin' Up! And some other places, and so far I'm not doing that at all. So sometimes, you know, your inspiration comes like after the fact, and you think that you've got an idea that you're going to use, or you think that you're going to copy something a little bit, or case it, as we say, and then all of a sudden you get some other idea and you just change your mind about the whole thing, which is kind of cool, because that's sort of what it's all about, you know? Okay, so we've got that. Now this time I think I want to put this, but I've got to make sure I have room. So if this is sitting here, this has to come down. Okay, we just want to make sure that it can get into the envelope, or into the, yeah, into the envelope, the mailing envelope. Okay, so now I'm going to put that on there. You know what would be cute? And I actually have a punch that does this, but it's, no, I don't even think it's a Stampin' Up! Punch, but it would be cute to have some silverware. Just saying. And I do have a silverware punch, because sometimes I do like cookbooks as a shower gift. I make like a cookbook journal for shower gifts, and those really are kind of cool, and silverware just works really well on some of the recipe cards and things like that. I haven't made one of those in quite a while. So I think actually I just really want to put glue on everything here. So we're not going to have any dimension on this one. We're just going to have it flat down. I'm going to put it at a little bit of an angle. Oh, now I don't have handles on this one. And you really can't have a picnic tote without handles, can you? But again, with the pink, and this time I think I really want blue, or even gray would be okay. So maybe I'm going to make some gray handles. So let's just see. Yeah, that could be a problem, because then, so I could like put them way down here as if they're short handles maybe. Or what if I were to, I could make my own handles. I didn't cut out any of those other ones, but I could make my own handles. Let me think about that. Maybe I could even use, I don't know. I'm going to have to think about that. Yep, I'm going to have to think about that for sure. Maybe I'd have the handles like over here on the sides, as if they squished together that way. I don't know. I think it's okay to just make up stuff, don't you? All right, so we've got that. We've got just a note. And again, on the inside, it could be something different. Now we've got this that it's supposed to sit on top of, just for a little touch of that strawberry slush. And oh, I forgot the napkin. I don't know how important the napkin is, but I just kind of like it. I kind of like it. Let me think about it. we'll leave it there and I'll think about it a while longer. That's where the silverware might be cute. Stampin' Up! Did have a set a long time ago called What's Cooking? Wasn't that long ago. Within the last 4 years, I think. Called What's Cooking, and it had spatulas and all kinds of cool stuff. By the way, I just heard the word today that this this paper set, this paper package, Timeless Plaid, has been the #1 most popular item in this year's catalog. Probably, I'm guessing, because it's masculine. Because we have a lot of floral type patterns, and most people aren't going to make a card for a guy full of flowers. So I'm guessing that's why, but it's pretty. I like it too. I mean, obviously, to me, that's not masculine. This maybe is more masculine, but again, you hear me say this all the time. Who decides this stuff, right? Who decides what's masculine and what isn't? It's certainly not up to us to decide. All right, and well, you know, if I put this over here, like it's sitting over here, then it's kind of taking up some room over there. So let's do that. Mainly because I just like it. And I really want to use it. So let's put that down kind of over here. And then I think I really do want to close that, just because if I don't, I could put a dimensional under it though, just so they know it really, you know, what it is. I think people would know that's a napkin, don't you? Yeah, there we go. Gives it a little dimension, but it shouldn't get caught on anything. Oh my gosh, this is cute too. Don't you think it's cute? Just agree with me. That's what I say sometimes to people. Just agree with me. We'll get along fine. All right, let's make a little whatever for the inside here. Yeah, I really should have thought about what colors I was making those water bottles and things, shouldn't I? Because then it'll almost look like there's a little tablecloth on the inside of the card too. That's kind of cute. I could put another napkin on the inside of the table, or on the inside of the card. That's what it's called. I could do that. Okay. I'm not going to glue all the way to the end on the paper because I think the paper is going to be longer. So we'll stop at a certain point so we don't make a mess. Okay, my glue pen is stuck to my scissors. Everything's stuck to my scissors. Okay. So I hope that you have been enjoying good weather where you are and that summer is here for you. And then this is going to go on there, and I got a couple of rough spots. Sometimes that's what tells you that your trimmer needs a new blade, but it's very easy just to kind of, it's almost like you're using the scissor as a blade, as a cutter, not as a scissor, you know what I mean? Just kind of go up with the sharp part of the scissor and just kind of scrape it off. That way you don't have to worry about cutting in the wrong place. I always like to get a little circle kind of in the corners because I hate when the corners come up. But you don't want to put so much that they're oozing out either because that's not good. This glue is very strong, so you don't have to worry about that. And it just whoops, well, I grabbed the whole thing and moved it over with my finger. I do think with most glues, no matter how good they are, and even with glue sticks, which most people say don't work well, I used to use them in school with my kids a lot, and I found that if you really pressed them down, if you just stuck it down and went like that and walked away, they didn't stick. But if you actually spent a couple of minutes doing this, it just makes the glue and the paper bond, and I think it sticks better. That's just one woman's opinion, but that's what I think. Okay, adorable. I think it's adorable. And then inside you could put whatever you want. So the Just a Note could be a lead up to almost anything. I think that's great. Okay. Now the third one, if you thought those were possibly tricky. The third one's going to be worse. Sorry, hate to tell you this, but because I did not make a practice one of these. So, and I didn't watch anybody doing one. I saw one thing, though, where a person said to cut off these two end pieces to get rid of the bulk, and that makes sense, I hope. I'm really hoping, because when you put it together, if you cut off the end pieces, it'll be the end missing from one. You know what I'm saying? So if you cut off both left sides or both right sides, when you turn it around to assemble it, they'll still both have a flap. Each side will still have a flap. See, so you've got a flap here and a flap there. So that's what I think the advice there was about. And it was a little daring of me to just hack it off without checking it out, but I didn't know what else to do to check it out. And I also notice now, no, never mind, they're the same. Okay, so I'm assuming that this one is going to get glued on the inside. That's what I think. And then this one gets glued on the inside. That's what I think there too. But I also think that these create a bottom, and that probably has to happen beforehand. And there was only a glue tab, or whatever you want to call it, on one side of this. So each one had one side, and again, when you put them together with the matching sides facing out and facing in, you have one tab on each side. So let me see, because I feel like that would have to come first. So I feel like, and it's so hard with, it's so hard with designer series paper sometimes. So I'm going to make a line, because I really want to see where the line is, and I want you to be able to see where the line is. And I don't think it'll matter. So actually you could even pick it up and then color, fill in the line. So now maybe you can see a little bit. I can see it from here. If I lift it up, you can probably see it a bit as well. See, on my screen, I'm still coloring the line. I'm still making the line. So yeah, I think you can see it. So I think what happens is that these get glued together first. And you really only put glue on one side, I'm thinking. And then you match them up. But you also have to match up these little tabby things so that they will fold in. And I didn't do that, so I'm going to move that over a little bit so that the fold on the tabby thing is lining right up, I think. Should line right up with the end of the bag on the other side, because otherwise they won't fold up. Okay, so that's what I think. And then typically when we have a tab like this, what we do, the easiest way on a 3D project is to put the glue on the tab, and then you're just going to, you're just going to fold it. You're just going to fold it over, and you should be able to flatten it, but you can't totally flatten it because I attached the bottom. So maybe I shouldn't have, but I think it's going to work anyway. I think it is. All right, and then we get some glue on this tab here. We'll see if I know what I'm doing or not. All right, because, you know, these things should probably be practiced first, just saying. And I just didn't do that. So, and you've got to hold it for, for a couple of seconds. You can't expect the glue to work miracles. Got to hold it for a couple of seconds. Give it a little press. There we go. Okay. And now this is the part I think that maybe should have happened first, but I think it can still work. I think these little tabs need to get tucked in. And yes, that probably should have happened first. Yeah, definitely should have happened first. Okay, note to self, tuck tabs in first. But I think, she says, that I can make it happen anyway. And I'm trying to figure out if they really even need to be glued, or if they just need to be pushed in there so that you don't see the opening. Okay, so now that one's in there. And now on the inside, I can take my tweezers and press it down, and take my fingers and press it down so that It makes a nice little triangle and you're not seeing the inside. And I honestly don't think glue is necessary, but it definitely should have been done first. No doubt in my mind that it should have been done first, okay? All right. So we're going to shove those in there. Not necessarily gently, we're just going to shove them in there. And then I may have to do a little re-gluing. Okay, so this is, where I tell you, you can learn from my mistakes. I make the mistakes and you get smart learning from them. All right, so this is going to need a little more glue just to kind of repair that because I was a little rough with it. Okay. And then again, though, you can't see that once I shoved it in there. And I truly don't think glue is necessary. So now you've got the 3D, and you just kind of have to zhuzh it a little bit. And you could definitely put stuff in there. All right, so from the inside, you can see air. So that might be a reason that you would want to glue that a little bit. Again, I don't know how particular you want to be. It will stand up on its own. We just have to move it a little bit to get it so that both sides look like they're shaped the same way. And obviously I have a fan on above me and a fan behind me, so it's going to blow over. Okay, never mind. And you could then put, well, see, the block wouldn't make it stay because the bottom's not as wide as the block. But you could put something in there for sure, little candies or whatever. And then you could definitely put a handle on it. You would probably want two. And since the inside's pink, I feel very comfortable using the pink. I think this is Bubble Bath, but I can't remember to tell you the truth. All right. Put that on the outside, and then I would put another one on the other side just to match. And then, again, we could put the pocket on, but I would like the pocket to be like maybe the opposite fabric, the fabric that's in there. So here's what I'm going to do, just so you can get the idea. I'm going to put just the tiniest little bit of glue, and I'm going to put that pocket on, and I can rip it off later, carefully, and put on, I think if I can find more of that, I would say fabric, but kind of looks like fabric, and then put another handle on, and then I'll see if I can find some things that would fit in there. There's always little treats. Everybody loves little treats, right? Little candies and things like that. So that is the 3D version of that. So it is intended for that, but you can certainly use it for cards as well. Yeah, like I said, I've got a fan in here, so it's going to blow. My AC is as old as the house is. I've been trying to remember if we ever replaced it, and I truly don't think we did. And I've got it down to 70, which in the past my teeth would have been chattering, and I'm barely comfortable. But this house was built in 1992. The AC was not put in the first year. We put all the work in for the AC, but didn't put it in because we have a whole house fan. And in a cooler summer, that whole house fan did the job, but then we had a really hot summer. So I think the AC got put in maybe in 93 or 94. So yeah, it's old air conditioning, no doubt about it. So there we go. And this is bending a little bit because of the watercolor paper. So I just have to kind of bend it back. I always keep these little things on my desk so that I can hold cards down, and then I have clear ones. Those are just with some DSP on the back. And I have a clear one that I put on it when I take pictures to hold it in place. So there you go. So this one is going to get some water bottles and stuff in a reasonable color. And this one, I don't think it's getting anything else. Well, it could get a pocket, maybe a pocket. We'll see. And then this one will get, I think, a colored pocket. So those are our 3 projects for tonight, and I hope you enjoyed these, and I hope you'll give them a try. Play with the watercolor. Like, you don't have to have watercolor paints, just use your re-inkers. If you don't have re-inkers, you just take your stamp pad, you open it up, you take one of these blocks, and you put some ink on the block, and then you spray it with water, or just add water to it from your water brush, or a paintbrush, and that will work just the same way. But I will say, if you have the stamp pads, you really want to buy the re-inkers, because once the colors retire and your stamp pad dries out, then you're out of luck. All right? Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Don't forget that you can catch me on the replay, but you can also catch me on YouTube now. As soon as I'm done taking these pictures, I'll probably put it up tonight or maybe tomorrow. Okay? Thank you so much, and have a great holiday weekend. I hope you all have some really good plans and you're going to do something fun. I'm going out to a lake, and they're trying to talk me into going on the jet skis, which I'm not afraid of, but on a excuse me, on a holiday weekend, people are crazy, and I'm just not sure it's safe, to be honest with you. So we'll see. All right, take care. Hello, Debbie. Sorry I didn't see you sooner. Thanks for watching.